Pick the right week.
All right, the time being 6 o'clock, I'm going to call the Board of Health meeting to order. All members are present. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May you be seated. First item on our agenda are public announcements, specifically announcements from the Health Department. At this time, I will turn things over to Eddie to give us announcements.
Everything's quiet right now. As far as the health department, we're running steady, and the help from around town hall has been overwhelming. It's been great, and things are good, and the other two members of the health department are on the mend. They seem to be doing well. I hear from them every day, and that's about all I got.
All right. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, idiosyncrasies, enigmas, oxymorons? No? All right. All right, moving on to our discussion on action items for the evening. First is an Island Grove water testing update. This was a request to put on the agenda. Eddie, I'm going to let you do some specifics on data with that if you have any, but I also, I happened to run into our health agent over the weekend anyways, and he did give me a couple of things he would have mentioned, and I thought it'd be good to bring up as well. So feel free to stop me or add anything if there's anything here. But one of the things he mentioned was that the bathing beaches such as Island Grove are required to be tested for indicator bacteria, and that's bacteria that specifically looks for the presence of fecal contamination. So marine water must be tested for a specific type of bacteria, but fresh water is allowed to be tested for this one or E. coli. Island Grove is tested for E. coli. The Board of Health, or the Health Department in our case, oversees the testing of all of that. They go to approved sampling locations and get tested weekly. There's not currently, from what we understand, a spot on the town website that is hosting that, but recently the state has started putting that information out online. I know they're doing a soft rollout of some testing that is going to be required by October, and you can expand upon that, Eddie, too, if you know about it. But they should be testing weekly, and we test from 1 week prior to open to 1 week after opening.
So I'm scheduled to start testing the week after next. And I had done that last year with the health agent, so I know how to do it and where to do it and why, where they like to get the best samples, what have you. So we'll get that going on the week after next.
Great. And I know there is work to put in some signage just to dictate when those are, the pool is tested. The water off season is disgusting, and the fact that people still think it's like okay to go in it is kind of gross. So we want to make sure that that information is posted and available, so that if somebody does go in, they're literally doing it at their own risk. It does say plain and clear that stuff's not being tested.
There should be some off season that should be not safe for swimming.
Right. Yeah. I think we're working with the Parks and Rec to get some signage out there, but that's working on that. Questions?
So the last testing is 1 week post-closing?
Yes.
Okay.
I also have a question. Do you guys also do the pools in town?
So we've started doing some of the inspections when they call for them already, and I just took the course to be able to do that 2 weeks ago, so we have an extra person now to do that.
Congratulations.
And in interim too, the other, Whitman and Avon are ready for my availability if I need anything done in an emergency situation.
Good.
Wonderful. Anything else? No? All right, moving on. Next is a continued discussion on animal regulation. So everybody was emailed a copy of the permit. It doesn't look like it got printed. I'm sorry, I should have reminded you. That's on me. But honestly, all the permit that was sent to you was Whitman's with the word Abington changed, which is exactly what we were looking to do. The only thing that came up as a question when making that was, how do we then still dictate what animals need to be put on that list? Dogs and cats we're not expecting to be because they're household pets. Where do we draw the line? So that's still where we're stuck, I think, because we've now determined this is what we want it to look like. We just haven't figured out maybe who's going to be the person, who are the people that need to submit that application. My thought was maybe it might be better, instead of doing what we were doing before and trying to build a regulation and then build a permit around it, this is what we want to do, let's just work backwards. So now we just need to figure out what we need to define to make a the animals need to be permitted. And I think we can do that in a lot shorter time frame, like, you know, in like a 2-page, 3-page document instead of like trying to do 12. So is that something we want to do?
That
Are we
sounds
doing,
great.
just leave the permit alone?
I think it does need to be clarified, particularly because we haven't had anything ever really.
Right.
And every town is so different. I think the goal that we've been looking at here is, it's more for outdoor animals that could potentially, the point of the health department doing it and the Board of Health doing it is outdoor animals that could bring a nuisance.
Right.
Or disease. You know, if you have more than 4 dogs, you're supposed to have a kennel license, and that becomes a whole, like, all of that is already taken care of indoors, and that becomes like a whole separate thing. But I think the idea was the outdoor living. So do you have animals that live the majority of their life outdoors? That would include outdoor bunnies, that would include chickens, ducks, quail, pigs, and then you've got all the hoofed animals that have their own regulations anyways through the state. But I wonder if we just define it as something that lives predominantly
So
in outdoor environment outside of your, you know,
There had been
main
a list.
domicile or whatever.
I had that thought, and so I compiled something already that I didn't send
So
everybody
why
because
did
I
I
did
have to
this
say
because I did this
anything? You could've just
yesterday.
said
Because I wasn't sure I wanted to
It
introduce it.
sounded really good.
But kind of what I was thinking to do, so I had this thought, I worked backwards and came up with something random, literally yesterday. That's why nobody has a copy of it, and that's why I want to bring it up. Because if that's not the direction we want to go in, I could shred this. But that was kind of what most communities, when they had something similar, is what they were doing. They were, like, this is the definition they used for animal here, was all mammals and birds, including not limited to horses, ponies, donkeys, cattle, goats, sheep, swine, equine, llamas, alpacas, can't pronounce that word, poultry.
Copy your bag.
Yeah, pigeons, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of words here. And livestock, which are kept or harbored as domesticated animals, provided that the following shall be exempt under these regulations: dogs, cats, rabbits, up to a certain number; rodentia, up to a certain number; exotic birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians.
Yeah.
Dogs must be licensed according to the provisions of the bylaws and state laws. Wild animals, exotic birds, fish, reptiles, amphibians may be kept as pets, subject to license requirements of state law.
Yeah,
I think that covers
exactly.
everything.
Right.
I think that's reasonable, and I love the examples, because that's really what we're looking for, is just the disease and nuisance that can come from outdoor animals that are not cared for properly, where the indoor animals, there already are so many things there. That's not the point of this.
Right. And so that's what this does, and it works backwards. So it basically, all it says in here is how the permit works, how stables work, which are two different things, the facility standards, which none of which are actually looking requirements for us to inspect, but more they should be clean and in line with Mass General laws, how to get a variance, what exceptions would be in place, compliance with health requirements per the Department of Agriculture or MGL, which neither of which have to do with us, how they get suspended, enforcement, right to a hearing, and all the fun legal jargon stuff. So that's what all this covers, instead
Okay.
of what we were trying to do before, which is dictate a bunch of things. It's just, this is how it works.
Yeah,
So I would like everyone to look at maybe this as an option, but I wanted to talk about it first. I think that may kind of answer the problem of, what animals are we looking at? You know, I think at one point in here, it says that if an animal lives in a dwelling with an individual, as a pet, then they don't have to be considered a animal for this regulation. So I think we look at that as an option. I would just wanted to talk through maybe any objections to that.
and we're looking to do, just to remind, to go back and forth on this, it would be, you would submit yearly, but only
Have to pay
do
the
like a
first time.
$5 the first time.
Because once
So-
you're on the books, like, right,
Right, like I would just say, okay, like if we have to register January 2025, I hope Chicken Math doesn't get to me, but I would say, $5, I have 19 chickens. Then in 2026, I would say, update, I have 15, I have 22, I still have 19, but I wouldn't have to pay that $5 fee, it's just to keep track.
Right.
Okay. I think the biggest thing is when we push this out, and when we decide to, is it's for disease control, nuisance control, and to help our animal control officer understand when things get lost or things get
Yeah.
hurt or whatever, we're aware of where they are.
Yeah, and I think that's why the work backwards worked
Yeah.
better in this case as opposed to trying to
Like
do
this
what we were doing
big
before,
thing.
because
We
we had.
we removed a bunch of stuff from the
Right.
ones before because we were trying to get.
Exactly,
there.
and
Yeah.
honestly, so what this actually came from was Foxborough, and they have an animal unit, is what they consider, so a certain number of chickens is considered one animal unit. And if you have X number of animal units, then that's how it works. I think that's a little too much
Oh, that's
for what
way
we're
too
trying to
much.
do,
No.
but the
Too
intention of it,
involved.
but what it still does is it allowed them to count, okay, well, this is how many animal units I had, and they could still count in a similar manner.
Right.
So this, I basically just took it and completely threw the animal unit thing out the window, but the definitions still work just fine.
Oh, it's
and,
reasonable.
I think it's reasonable too. So I want to share a copy of that with everybody. If I didn't write it yesterday, it would have been sooner. We would have been doing it right now. And basically, we'll just go through, redline anything we don't want, and send it to Greg to
Okay.
get reviewed.
So that will be the documentation that will go online, and then people will be able to get the form that was already emailed, and then they can print that out.
If we're good
and
with the
then we
form
submit
too,
it.
we'll, yeah.
I
I mean,
thought
we're
the form
gonna,
was good.
yeah, it's Women's form,
Yep.
so.
I can
Right.
copy that at the end of the meeting and
Sure.
then just give everybody a copy
Yeah.
to take home, yeah.
That'd be good too.
Okay.
I'll email it as well, but that way you have a hard copy right then.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, further discussion on this? Thoughts? No? Okay, I think we're finally getting to a resolution there, which is good. Health agent report. In lieu of our health agent, do you have anything to report on just the past couple weeks, things that happened?
They did start doing some inspections. I have got emails this morning of about, I would say, 12 or 13 inspections that just happened. Other than that, it's been quiet.
No major issues, violations, things that?
No, nothing, no, steady as she goes, nice and smooth, let's keep it that way.
I was about to say, everyone
Yeah,
knows
right.
it's really hard, and you just jinx yourself.
Used to be a medical professional, you never say it's quiet, right? Okay, any questions? No? Vote to approve the minutes of May 20th, everyone should have a copy of that. Any motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve by Katie, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Jason seconds. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes passed. Okay, public comment? Cool.
Aaron already showed me, yeah, he showed me.
Correspondence? Health Department have any correspondence to share? Or
No, I
any-
mean, mail has actually been slow too, just like promotional items and stuff been coming through.
Any member of the board have any correspondence to share? None? All right. With that, that is the end of our agenda for the evening. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Katie, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jason, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous, we're adjourned.